Today, we'll explore the origins of money throughout human history, examining how it evolved to meet our needs and became one of the most important inventions of our species. Thanks to money, the exchange of goods and services became easier and more efficient, enabling the creation of increasingly complex societies. However, money hasn't always existed in the form we know today. Over time, it has taken on various shapes and functions, ranging from natural objects to scarce precious metals. In the earliest days of rudimentary economies, small population groups were largely self-sufficient. They rarely interacted with other groups, producing or gathering everything they needed from nature. However, the emergence of larger communities led to increasingly intricate societies. This, in turn, brought about the gradual development of labor division and human specialization in more specific roles. In this new environment, people could no longer meet all their needs on their own and had to rely on the cooperation of others. This division of labor naturally required exchanges between individuals. For a barter system to function, the quantities of goods and services being traded had to align with the needs and capabilities of both parties. For instance, someone with a surplus of a product, like a certain amount of grain, could trade it directly for something of perceived equal value or greater utility. Archaeological evidence shows that bartering dates back to the Upper Paleolithic period, when hunter-gatherer groups traded high-quality flint weapons and other tools for food or animal hides. However, the effectiveness of bartering was limited. It relied on a coincidence of wants, where both parties needed what the other had to offer. Additionally, there was no standard measure to compare the relative value of goods, making these exchanges time-consuming and inefficient. To address these challenges, people sought a solution to streamline and simplify exchanges. This led to the creation of general instruments of exchange, goods that, by consensus, were accepted as representations of the value of other goods and services. In other words, money was invented. Throughout history, the items used as mediums of exchange have been varied and diverse. However, certain characteristics made them ideal for use as money: stability in value, ease of storage, portability, divisibility, durability, and resistance to decay. As a result, we see many examples of money throughout history. In the Americas, mother-of-pearl shells were widely used, while cowrie shells served as currency in Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. Precious stones, spices, and metals such as copper, meteoric iron, obsidian, amber, gold, silver, and lead ingots have all been used as money at different times. Even live animals, such as cows or other livestock, were employed as a form of payment in pastoral societies until relatively recent times. In the case of shells, while they are now mostly used for decoration, they once served as currency for many ancient civilizations. Particularly notable is the cowrie shell, known in Latin as Cyprea moneta. This shell was used as money for several centuries. Beginning during China's Shang dynasty around 1600 BCE, it is considered one of the first international currencies, as it was used in Asia, Oceania, Africa, and parts of Europe. Its vulva-like shape made it a symbol of prosperity, a meaning it still holds in certain contexts. The cowrie was a beautiful, durable, portable, and counterfeit-proof form of currency. In fact, the Chinese pictogram for a cowrie shell is incorporated into many characters and ideograms associated with money, trade, or wealth. For example, the character representing the modern Chinese monetary unit, the yuan, includes this pictogram. Another example of a medium of exchange is salt, which was highly valued for its ability to preserve food. The Egyptians held it in high regard, using it to embalm their dead and placing salted food alongside them to sustain them in the afterlife. The Phoenicians also leveraged salt, playing a key role in their dominance of the Mediterranean through its use in maritime trade, which they obtained via seawater evaporation. The term salary originates from the use of salt as a form of payment. The Roman salarium referred to the amount of salt given to a legionary as part of their compensation. Pepper is another example of a valuable commodity used as currency. Greek and Roman merchants traded pepper extensively, establishing trade routes to acquire it. When the Goths sacked Rome in 408 CE, they demanded 3,000 pounds of pepper as part of their tribute, alongside gold and silver. Originally from India, pepper became so highly prized in Spain that many explorers sought the spice route to facilitate its trade. This goal was eventually achieved when Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama reached India via a new sea route, bypassing the Arab monopoly on the Silk Road. In the Americas, cacao seeds were used as currency. Spanish explorers documented how the Maya civilization employed cacao as a medium of exchange among the native population. Cacao met all the requirements of money. It was regulated, divisible, easy to store, durable, and portable. Wealthier families controlled cacao production through plantations. Cacao also held cultural and religious significance. It was the basis for chocolatl, the drink of the gods, used in rituals and ceremonies. Prices, taxes, and wages in Maya markets were often denominated in cacao seeds. Other early American civilizations, during the early formative period, 1450 to 500 BCE, used materials such as obsidian, mother-of-pearl shells, and even pottery as forms of currency. These items facilitated large-scale, successful trade networks, highlighting the diversity and ingenuity of early monetary systems. The next step in the evolution of money was the use of metals as a medium of exchange. Metals possessed characteristics that made them ideal for this purpose. They were durable, divisible, homogeneous, and scarce. The first metals used as money were copper and iron, but gold and silver soon became more dominant due to their greater scarcity, intrinsic value, and aesthetic appeal. Initially, metals were used in the form of ingots or bars, but standardized coins with specific shapes, weights, and markings were later introduced to guarantee their authenticity and value. Tracing the origins of coinage, the Mesopotamian shekel is considered one of the earliest forms of money, emerging nearly 5,000 years ago. However, the first mints and formal coin production appeared much later. The earliest known coins were minted between 650 and 600 BCE in Lydia, a kingdom located in what is now Turkey. These coins, made of electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, bore the image of a lion, the symbol of the Lydian king. Known as Lydian lions, these coins greatly facilitated trade among Mediterranean peoples and quickly spread to other regions including Greece, Persia, and Rome. Coins offered advantages such as portability and ease of counting, but they also posed challenges, including counterfeiting and depreciation. The discovery of coin hoards made of lead, copper, silver, and gold across the globe suggests that coinage became the most popular form of money during the first millennium CE, particularly in Europe, Asia, and North Africa. The widespread circulation of Roman, Islamic, Indian, and Chinese coins demonstrates that money had become a truly globalized medium of exchange. One of the most famous ancient currencies was the drachma, widely used throughout the Greek world from the 6th century BCE to the 1st century CE. Made of silver, its designs varied by city-state. Among the most renowned were the Athenian tetradrachms, featuring the head of Athena and an owl, and the decadrachms of Syracuse, which depicted the head of Arethusa and a quadriga. Another notable coin was the denarius, the primary currency of the Roman Republic and Empire, from the 3rd century BCE to the 3rd century CE. Made of silver, it typically featured the emperor's bust or that of a family member, along with depictions of religious, military, or political themes. Some of the most famous denarii were issued by Julius Caesar, Augustus, and Nero. The aureus, a Roman gold coin, was in use from the 1st century BCE to the 4th century CE. It had a high value and was primarily used for significant transactions or payments to soldiers. Like the denarius, the aureus featured the emperor's portrait and various motifs symbolizing their reign. Noteworthy examples include coins minted under Trajan, Constantine, and Diocletian. Another historically significant coin was the solidus, the gold currency of the Byzantine Empire from the 4th to the 11th century CE. Known for its stable weight and purity, the solidus became a benchmark for international trade. It typically featured the bust of the Emperor Christ or a Christian saint. Some of the most notable solidi were minted during the reigns of emperors such as Justinian, Heraclius, and Basil II. Equally significant was the Chinese cash coin used in China and Southeast Asia from the 2nd century BCE to the 20th century. These small, disc-shaped coins were made of copper or silver and featured a square hole in the center. According to Chinese cosmology, the square hole symbolized the earth, while the circular shape represented the heavens. The hole also allowed the coins to be strung together on a cord, making it easier to manage large quantities, as each individual coin had very little value. Over time, the number of coins in a string varied, but a common standard was 1,000 cash, equivalent to 1 tael of pure silver. Even today, the tradition of carrying traditional copper coins on a red silk string endures in Chinese culture as a symbol of good luck. Another notable currency was the real de a ocho, or Spanish dollar, known in the English-speaking world as the piece of 8. This coin, weighing 27 grams of fine silver, was introduced by the Spanish Catholic monarchy following the 1497 monetary reform that established the Spanish real. The real de a ocho achieved an unprecedented level of global circulation, becoming the first world currency in human history. By the late 18th century, it was widely used across Europe, the Americas, and the Far East. The coin's prominence was largely due to the massive silver deposits discovered in Potosi in present-day Bolivia, as well as in Taxco and Zacatecas in Mexico. Starting in the 16th century, mints in Bolivia, Mexico, and Peru produced millions of reals de a ocho, fueling the early stages of globalization. Interestingly, the piece of 8 was also the first legal tender in the United States, until its use was officially discontinued by the Coinage Act of 1857. Furthermore, many modern currencies derive their names from the real de a ocho, including the dollar and the yuan. The widespread use of coins as commodity money can be attributed to their portability, durability, and inherent value, as previously discussed. Additionally, their production and circulation were tightly controlled by political leaders who oversaw every stage of the process, from mining and smelting to minting and distribution. This control made money a powerful instrument of political authority. Taxes could be levied to support elites who in turn maintained large armies. At the same time, money also served as a stabilizing force, facilitating the peaceful exchange of goods, information, and services within and between groups. This unifying aspect of currency made it a common language understood by all, reinforcing its role as both an economic and cultural cornerstone. After the minting of coins, the next major step in the evolution of money in the ancient world was the introduction of paper as a medium of exchange. Paper had several qualities that made it ideal for this purpose. It was lightweight, easy to produce, and capable of representing large amounts of value. The first recorded use of paper money occurred in China during the 7th century CE, when certificates were issued to represent deposits of silk or grain stored in state warehouses. These certificates circulated as currency among merchants and citizens. Later, in the 11th century CE, the first true banknotes were also introduced in China. These were issued by private banks and guaranteed their conversion into metal coins. In contrast, Europe's first banknotes were created in Sweden in 1661 by a banker named Johann Palmstruch. He issued them as receipts for gold or silver deposits at Stockholm Banco, which he founded. However, some historians argue that Europe's first banknote was issued earlier in 1250 by King James I of Aragon, backed by the kingdom's treasury. Regardless of these historical debates, the invention of banknotes brought significant improvements. They were far more convenient than heavy metal coins, being lighter and easier to transport, which greatly facilitated long-distance trade and the payment of large sums. Banknotes also provided enhanced security, as they could be stored in discrete, protected locations, reducing the risk of theft or loss. Additionally, they offered greater flexibility by being issued in varying denominations, which allowed the money supply to adjust to demand, preventing shortages or surpluses. Banknotes also stimulated the growth of banking and credit systems, as banks could lend money in exchange for interest and issue notes backed by their deposits or assets. This innovation laid the foundation for the financial systems that shaped the modern world and paved the way for the advent of digital money. In today's era, the possession of money often defines the line between wealth and poverty, as well as the differences between developed and developing nations. While money was a groundbreaking innovation that brought immense progress to ancient societies, it continues to influence global inequality, well-being, and the sustainability of modern society. Even as money evolves in our digital age, its uses and significance would still be recognizable to our ancestors. And with that, we've reached the end of today's video on the evolution of money. We've had to omit many details to keep the video concise, but in future installments, we'll dive deeper into specific topics related to the history of money across the millennia. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.